Hey guys, Alex from Prep Printing Press here, and welcome to my shop. Today I've actually got a bit of a unique video for you, and it's going to be a little bit of a different formatting than what we usually do here on the channel. So today, there's actually a topic that I want to discuss with you guys, but don't worry, I'm actually going to use some 3D printed props to kind of make my point and illustrate what I'm trying to explain in a way that I think could be entertaining and hopefully enlightening and encouraging to you guys. So yeah, the formatting is going to be very different. There's going to be much fewer cuts, maybe except for moments here or there where I'm trying to figure out a better way to express what I'm trying to express. But this is very much so an unscripted video in which I'm really just trying to share my heart with you guys. And I'm hoping that somebody here that's watching this video is going to find maybe some encouragement that you guys need to hear right now. Because let's face it, we all go through tough times and we all need encouragements. Which brings me to the topic that I'd like to discuss in today's video, which is mental health. If you guys didn't know, the month of May is actually dedicated to mental health awareness. And I think that that's something that's really affecting a lot of us in probably more ways than we realize. Now, I'm just going to say up front, I am not a licensed therapist. So take everything that I'm going to say with a grain of salt. I just want to share some of the things that I am learning right now through my journey as I'm aware of my mental health struggles. And I'm hoping that maybe you guys can glean from some of those things too. But all month long, I've been thinking to myself that I wanted to do some sort of a video to talk about mental health awareness. And I wasn't sure the best way to reach you guys as an audience and talk about this really serious topic that does affect a lot of us. So I was thinking of what ways I could best illustrate this in a way that is impactful to you guys as my audience. I started looking around my little workshop and just looking at the different tools and toys that I have here. And I found myself kind of focusing on some of my finished props. And you guys saw this in a recent video, but this is my Helldivers helmet, and there are a lot of really little details that I am super happy with this helmet. I think that this is honestly probably one of the best props that I've made to date, and I'm really happy with how this came out. It just got me to thinking about how in life we have those high moments where we're able to take a look at what we've got in front of us and take a look in the mirror and be like, I am so happy with what I see in front of me. That thing came out great. Look at how beautiful it is. I want to show this off to my friends. I want to post it on social media, whatever. You find something, you've got it, you're proud of it, and you really want to share that because you worked hard to accomplish this thing. But the thing that I keep coming back to as I was thinking about this was the fact that this helmet didn't get to look like this all by itself, right? I didn't just print this and then tomorrow, the next day, whatever, this helmet came out looking beautiful. The less fun part of any of my builds is this phase right here. This is a raw 3D printed prop that I'm going to be working on, and I've begun the sanding process, and I still got a lot of work left to do on this. And it is always really hard when you have this beautiful finished product and then all of a sudden you have to go back to this phase. Every time you come back to this phase, it's like, ugh, why do I have to sand again? I thought I was done with this. I just want to get to the painting. I want to get to the weathering. I want to get to the wearing at the cons. Why do I have to always go back to this sanding process? And that word process is honestly a really important word for me because it is part of the process. Because this helmet could come out to be even better than my Helldivers helmet. And I can't wait. There's some really exciting stuff that I've got going on with this helmet, and I can't wait to show you some of the things that I'm going to be doing with this. But the process remains the same. The process is I have to put the work in. The process is I have to sand this down. And so no matter how many of these beautiful finished props I have, unless printing technology changes drastically here soon, you still have to put the work in. The printers have advanced and they're remarkable. It's incredible some of the work that they can do, but you still have to put the work in. And a lot of times that looks like sanding down. A lot of times that's those nights where you're just up late and sometimes when you're sanding and working on it, sometimes you'll actually end up gouging your print and tearing a hole in it that you then have to patch with some filler of some kind. Some pieces are peskier than others. Some pieces you're able to sand it down and then hit it with a couple of coats of filler primer and you're good to go. Others, I'll put 10 coats of filler primer on it and I still have to sand it. And honestly, it's a frustrating part of the process, right? If you've been doing this for any number of time, you understand that this is not an exciting part of the project, right? You don't look forward to the sanding part, right? How many of us are genuinely looking forward to this sanding part? We don't. We don't enjoy it. It's painful. It's a nuisance. We see it as something that we just kind of have to get out of the way. But that made me think about the way that this applies to our mental health too, because there are times where you're on those mountaintops where you're on that high and you're like, I'm doing so great. I'm so happy that I'm here. And then maybe the next day you're in a low state, and that happens to me sometimes where Everything can be totally fine. Nothing has drastically changed, but I'll just wake up the next morning, and that morning I just don't have the energy. That morning I just feel emotionally or mentally checked out, and it's a really hard place to be if you've ever experienced that. And you kind of feel like like this helmet that came out so beautifully. Why am I back to the sanding phase? Why am I back to this like under the weather phase? Why am I struggling with this thing again today? And it's part of the process. It genuinely is part of the process for all of us. Is that the reality is that none of us are ever going to be over that. You know, I'm never going to have a prop that I don't have to sand at all or put any kind of work into, and it's just going to magically become a beautifully finished prop. I have to put the work in to get it there. And it's the same in life. We go through tough times and we hit those lows, and sometimes those lows are just so inconvenient that we want to skip over it. But it's kind of like that movie Click with Adam Sandler, where if you could fast forward through the mundane and unpleasant parts of your life, next thing you know, you start fast forwarding through all the big stuff, and you turn around and you would have fast forwarded through your whole life. It's in the sanding stage that we learn. It's in the sanding stage that we grow. It's in the sanding stage that I can, talk about 3D prints. By the end of this stage, I can feel the print and I can tell you if there's any blemish on this because I can feel across and it should be buttery smooth, ready for that paint job. And I can tell if something is off. But it's because I put in all that work. And that work can't be skipped if you're wanting to come out with these perfect props. If you want to give it to someone, or, sorry, this is kind of hard to talk about. But I think my point is clear, is that as much as we don't like these uncomfortable parts of life, the days where we're down, it's important to recognize that that doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you less than. It means that you're human. It means that you're struggling. But if you allow it to, it also means that you're growing. Because I look at the props that I've made today too, and I also see that sword above me is a great example of this, where that sword, when I made it, I was so proud of it. But when I look at it today, I know that I've come a long way since I made that sword, and I know that I can do a lot better. I know that if I remade that sword today, it would come out a lot better. And so while it pains me to see that sword in that state, I also know that I had to make that sword and I had to fail in the areas that I failed so that I could someday improve and make better props. And again, it's all part of the process. And so I just want to encourage you. If anyone watching this is encouraged, I hope you are. If any of you needs to hear this, I just want you to hear that you're awesome. You're not a failure. There's nothing wrong with struggling. Struggling is an important part of our journey here as human beings on this earth, and we all have to go through it. But if we allow it, if we choose to reframe our mindset and the way that our perspective, the way that we look at things, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Those unpleasant chapters, those moments, those days where you wake up and you're just not there today. Just look at those days and see them as opportunities to learn from that place and to grow better. And each time you do it, hopefully you get a little bit better at it. Again, I don't pretend to be a licensed therapist or anything like that. I just make nerdy stuff, and I've got my own journey with mental health. And these are things that honestly I think about a lot throughout my day as I'm working on stuff, as I'm just going through my days. I just hope that that made sense to you guys, that it didn't just sound like me rambling, and I hope that somebody here was encouraged. So yeah, honestly, that's kind of it for today's video. I know that this is a bit of a different video than what I usually do, but I hope that that was impactful to some of you guys. I hope that you guys were able to be encouraged by this and to feel seen and heard. I know that for me personally, a lot of times I think that I'm the only one who feels like this. And then when I share or I see other people share, I realize that we're really not alone in these feelings and that we all have our struggles. And a lot of times what you're struggling with is something that somebody else can relate to. And so thank you guys for being a community that I can reach out to. Yeah, again, we're celebrating the mental health awareness for the month of May. And so, I hope this encouraged you guys. And we've got some new YouTube videos coming out that I'm super excited to share, several that are in the pipeline right now. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and then click that bell icon. That way you never miss any notifications when YouTube uploads new videos for me. Okay, I'm officially done yapping. Thank you guys again so much. I appreciate all of you guys more than you know, and I'll see you on the next videos. Bye for now.